DoorDash just finished their Q1 2023 earnings call. I have notes here. If you don't want to watch the whole call, you can watch this video. I'll give you all the most important summaries here. Very interesting. First thing that I noticed, now this is just released today at the time of filming this video, is per usual, these companies put out a letter to investors. It's exactly what it sounds like. And DoorDash, here's theirs for Q1. Now you see details on the restaurant vertical, all so-called merchants here. Some data on that, order frequency within each cohorts, new verticals, so getting into new categories. I think grocery being one of them. Package pickup is considered a new vertical. They added Dashers back into this letter to investors. That had not been in there for, if I can remember correctly, 4 quarters, Q1 through Q4 of last year. So now in Q1 of 2023, they put Dashers back into the letter to investors. They must have been listening to my video, DoorDash. I don't think so. But now the thing that I noticed, they did not put a lot of juicy stats in here, unfortunately. Now, I always look for something. Now they had, a satisfaction poll. Like, okay, 89% of Dashers, 6,700 surveyed say they're satisfied. I mean, that's fine. And I do want you to be satisfied as a Dasher. Comment down below if you are or not. And that's why you subscribe and follow and watch the videos here and on most every single side hustle, because I help you make money in different side hustles. But, it says, hey, these amount of Dashers, they like dashing because it helps make extra money. They have a backup plan. They feel less stressed. And I've seen data like that on DoorDash's impact report. That was at least 2 quarters ago, I believe. They had separate or similar data, I should say. Now, specifically talking about the call, you can look at, for instance, their survey right here. So with CEO Tony Xu and new CFO Ravi Inukonda, so they were asked about new verticals quite a bit. Again, the grocery, and they were explicitly asked about package pickup. Now, in our live chat here, if you missed the live, viewing of the quarterly call, you do want to subscribe, click the bell so you get notified, so you can be in our live discussion here, as well as a Q&A after these calls here. But, some of our viewers noted that they have not received package pickup, like any orders at all. Maybe one, we saw an anecdote that the QR code didn't work, but they were asked about new verticals, specifically grocery a lot as well. And Tony Xu, CEO, commented that they're growing in their core business, which is, restaurants, their core business, but they're growing even more in grocery. And listen, I've been saying for the past at least 2 quarters, I'd say 3 quarters, maybe more, that the focus on DoorDash for you as a Dasher is going to start to be, and we're seeing this quarter over quarter, it's non-restaurant. It's going to be the package pickups, something else, Dash Marts, convenience, shop and deliver, and the grocery, I think. Now, obviously, the piece of the pie is still going to be restaurant, because that's literally what they call their core business, but continue to look for that in Q2 now in 2023. So reviewing the notes for you, and I got a lot of them. Again, you don't have to listen to that entire 40+ minute call here. AI. The company was asked about AI twice. And if you think this is a fleeting thing, Uber was asked about AI specifically as well on their earnings call earlier this week. And they were asked, hey, what are your thoughts about generative AI? What new opportunities? Now, Tony Xu, very excited about AI here and the focus on the highest quality last mile logistics network. That's just their overall goal. Like, hey, we're just trying to connect consumers to business and business to consumers in any way possible across all these verticals here. Now, he also mentioned they're running different experiments internally. So start to think about, okay, what new features might we see with generative AI? I think a lot of us think of chatbots. I'm thinking it might start with chatbots, but I'm thinking that they're going to start to experiment at least with AI in some other ways as well. obviously with an algorithm that you could call, maybe AI as well. It's kind of what it is. We've never really seen, exact algorithms either. Also talked about new partnerships. And I'll say that DoorDash is smartly positioned amongst the competition. Uber Eats, the market share is, 65% monthly sales going to DoorDash, and then whatever 30% for Uber Eats and then Grubhub. Now, Uber has the rideshare vertical that DoorDash doesn't have, but DoorDash has the grocery. They have now everything that we mentioned, the non-core business there. Asked about package pickup. Comment down below if you've gotten package pickup here. Tony said that they are excited about package pickup and to help any physical business grow and connecting to meet the needs of their consumers. And also asked about reordering the layout of the app, which is going to reduce friction, a faster DoorDash app in general, less bugs, etc. Ads across the platform, they were asked about, and Uber and team were also asked about what they call journey ads. As you're on a ride with Uber, you're given an advertisement. Like, that's different than cross-selling, okay? Because Uber can cross-sell. You're on that ride, and then you're like, hey, do you want to order like Uber Eats on the way? Now, this is just straight ads for DoorDash. And Tony mentioned that they want the best-in-class ad return. So that's going to encourage spenders to keep spending and spending these money on these ads. But also, obviously you want, obviously you want a minimal impact on consumers. So if you're looking at an ad, even here on YouTube, there's a balance of having enough ads where you don't get like fed up with it and you leave. And then over time you leave entirely because all you think about is, hey, I don't like using this platform because there's too many ads. Investments in new verticals. Again, we talked about convenience. I think grocery, you're going to see a lot more of that. New user growth, especially in the US, how are you going to do that? They were asked, like, especially in the core business where I already cited, they're getting like 65% monthly sales in the restaurant, delivery space per second measure, a Bloomberg company. They said that's always a challenge to get and keep a new customer, but are they really trying to focus on new customers versus customers that have used already, but they're trying to increase the order frequency? So imagine if you order once a week, like what can we do to get you to order 1.2 times, which just means you're ordering like, every now and then a little bit more. 1.5 times, that's more order frequency. That's the goal as well. They talked about their Wolt acquisition and partnership that primarily is focusing on European and international markets, as Wolt is operating a delivery, I believe, platform and network over, especially again, in international and European markets. To my understanding, comment down below, it is still, DoorDash, but it's using the Wolt network. Double-digit growth in grocery, and what were some of the improvements? Tony mentioned that their focus on grocery is really, efficiency. And surprisingly, he mentioned, he's like, hey, some physical stores don't even know what's on their shelves. I used to work for Walmart. That's a massive store, and I did like stocking and stuff, like basic stocking. And even their handhelds would sometimes have the mismatch of like, there's supposed to be 5 units on the shelf and there's 7 or something like that. So imagine downscaled to a smaller business, smaller grocery store, 100%, I can see that. So DoorDash, actually this translates, DoorDash was asked, how are you going to get more grocery partners then? Because that's a new vertical, grocery. And Tony said, we need to solve more merchant problems so we can acquire more partners. They just partnered with Starbucks. That's huge. That's huge. Uber Eats had, I believe at the time, an exclusive partnership with Starbucks, but now DoorDash, I'm guessing that contract expired or what have you, and they got this partnership with Starbucks. Talking about, again, AI again, talking about new verticals, using that generative AI experimentally over the years here. What investments do they need to make on the merchant side? Again, Tony said that's where he said solve more problems. Now, as a Dasher, listen to this. Let's kind of put a bow on all this, because I understand it's like, yeah, AI to make it more, of an enjoyable experience for customers, solving more merchant problems. Like, that's great and all, but how is that going to help you as a Dasher? Now, Ravi, Inukonda, their new CFO, gave one insight later in the call here, talking about Dasher costs, that they needed more Dashers this past quarter in Q1, which resulted in higher Dasher costs. Now, in Q3 of 2022, last year, DoorDash cited less Dasher costs per order, which meant less less peak pay and less incentives, like sign-on incentives, combined equated to less spend per order, so paying Dashers less. But with an efficient system, all you can hope with more grocery partners, more retail partners, more whatever it's going to be, is it's going to give you more order options. And unless they're actively recruiting Dashers like they did in Q1, the reason costs were high is probably because, again, like Ravi said, they needed more Dashers, so they probably advertised more. They had more ad spend. They had more incentive pay. They probably had more peak pay at the initial weeks and months for Dashers that did join to try to keep them on the platform there. So hopefully, with more order types, order options, that'll give you more options as more consumers, their monthly active users, they call it. No mention of MAU, monthly active users, in this call. We'll have to comb through their supplemental info. But it's really that symbiosis of a strong merchant base, consumer base, and you as a Dasher. Now, obviously, we're watching the trend line of your pay, because all of that stuff can change. Consumer prices can go up and down. The commission taken from these merchants can go up and down, and then your pay can go up and down. So it's a three-legged stool, we call it. So we'll have to keep an eye on that here. And then finally, asked about DashPass Adoption, which is a monthly subscription plan. Not a ton of talk about that. I know Uber was talking about that more Q3 of last year. They really leveraged that. DoorDash, yeah, they were asked about it. Tony said, well, he was asked with DashPass, do you try to target, grocery? Do you try to target core business? Tony said, well, we're really not running the business to corral or steer a customer into like grocery or a restaurant. We just want them to use the platform, use it to whatever kind of, he said, interestingly, I'll mention here, why not? He's like, I want you to use DashPass and DoorDash. What did he say? If you want to, I'm blanking, I'll just make something up. I got it. A baseball bat delivered from Dick's Sporting Goods, or a pound of lettuce. That priced per pound lettuce. That's what he said, a pound of lettuce. But anyway, that is their use case for DashPass. And again, all of this works in one. And I understand you want to make the most money possible. That's why you're going to want to subscribe. Drop a link to this video and comment down below any questions if you want more insight. Also, if you want to watch that full call, it's linked down below as well.